In the plains of Venezuela, there's a woman who walks the dark roads at night looking for one specific kind of man, the unfaithful one. Locals call her La Sayona. And if you're a married man walking home alone at night, having had one too many drinks, she may already be watching you. The story goes back generations, and it always starts the same way, with a betrayal. A young woman, deeply in love, discovers her husband in the arms of another. Some versions say it was her own mother who betrayed her first. The heartbreak is so total, so consuming, that something in her breaks permanently. She runs out into the night, and she never really comes back. What returns to that village isn't quite human anymore. Tall, gaunt, wrapped in a torn white dress, long dark hair hiding a face that isn't fully there. And from that night on, she has one purpose: punishing men who are unfaithful to the women who love them. Here's how the encounter usually goes, according to those who tell the story firsthand. Man leaves a bar or a lover's house late at night, walking home alone on a quiet rural road. At some point, he notices a woman ahead of him, beautiful from behind, until she turns around. Some versions say her face shifts into something skeletal, or her eyes glow red. By then, it's already too late to look away. The man runs, and no matter how fast he runs, La Sayona is always right behind him, gliding rather than walking, feet barely touching the ground. Those who survive describe a terror unlike anything else, chased for miles down empty roads, convinced they'll die before reaching home. Those who don't survive are simply never seen again. Their families wake up to an empty bed, and a story the whole village already knows how to explain. But here's the detail that makes this legend different from a simple ghost story. La Sayona is selective. She doesn't hunt every man on every road. Faithful husbands, by most tellings, can walk right past her without harm. Some versions say a wedding ring worn with true devotion acts almost like a ward, stopping her before she can get close. It's a warning wrapped inside a horror story, and generations of mothers in rural Venezuela have used it exactly that way. Tell your husband, your son, your brother, stay faithful, or the woman in white might be waiting for you on the road home. Researchers who study Latin American folklore point out La Sayona isn't an isolated legend. She has close relatives across the region. The most obvious one is La Llorona, the weeping woman of Mexican folklore, who also wanders at night mourning a personal tragedy. But where La Llorona is defined by grief and searching, La Sayona is defined by rage and punishment. A very different emotional core. Some folklorists trace her roots to indigenous spirit traditions from before Spanish colonization, later reshaped through Catholic ideas of sin and betrayal. Others see her as a purely colonial-era invention, a cautionary tale born from a deeply patriarchal society aimed squarely at controlling men's behavior through fear. Either way, the legend spread far beyond its original region, and today she's known across nearly all of Venezuela and into parts of Colombia. What's striking is how consistently the story functions the same way everywhere it's told. It's not just entertainment, it's practical folk psychology, a supernatural enforcement mechanism for a moral rule the community already believed in. Break the rule, and something in the dark might come collect the debt personally. There's also a spatial logic to the legend that locals take seriously, even today. Small rural chapels and roadside crosses are said to be safe ground, places La Sayona cannot cross, much like other Latin American road spirits. If you're being chased, the advice passed down for generations is simple. Don't stop, don't look back, and get to consecrated ground as fast as you can. Modern reports haven't stopped either. Drivers on isolated Llanos roads still describe a woman in white appearing suddenly in their headlights, then vanishing. Some describe their car simply refusing to start again until they said a prayer or turned back the way they came. Skeptics point to something simpler: isolated roads, exhaustion, alcohol, guilt, and a story every local already knows by heart before they see anything at all. But try telling that to someone who grew up in a village where every grandmother has her own La Sayona story, told as fact, not fiction. What makes this legend endure isn't just fear of the supernatural. It's fear of consequences. dressed up as a ghost story, but functioning as a warning label. In a region where formal justice for infidelity, abuse, or abandonment was often out of reach for women, La Sayona became something else entirely, a folk avenger. Woman wronged, given supernatural power specifically to make unfaithful men afraid of the dark roads they thought were theirs alone. So if you're ever walking a quiet road through the Venezuelan countryside at night and you notice a tall figure in white walking ahead of you, don't call out to her, don't follow her, and hope that wherever you're coming from you have nothing to feel guilty about.